is going to be very happy about, since it still gives them a theoretical chance to go into the Western Clash spots. But the series isn't over yet either, and we've actually seen an amazing amount of reverse sweeps so far in Phase 2.
Yeah, we have a lot of game 5s, especially more on the Fnatic side, because they have definitely gone the wire. And Zealots, too, are always going to game 5s as well. But yeah, we really have been pushing to the wire here in HGC, and I wouldn't expect anything different, right? Like, we expect this depth out of this region as we continue to watch our teams continuing to grow. And you'll be able to see if Fnatic is able to try and take over Leftovers in our next series. They'll be taking on Dignitas. But let's continue to focus on this one. Game 4 is coming your way, and it will be Method and Leftovers trying to see if they can tie up the series here, or if Method can just finish it all out with a clean 3-1. So I'm very curious to see where we'll be going and what exactly is going to happen between these two teams.
The aggression that Leftovers showcase is something that I enjoy a lot, because you can make really good arguments for them to be playing a little bit more timid against an opponent that has so much coordination.
Yeah.
But they are actually the ones who come out swinging in every single game and just say, we need to bring the fight to them. If we don't do that, we don't win here. If we let them play their game, it's over. We need to force our game onto them. So that idea is impressive, and I really, really like it, because I think it's the right approach to beat Method. And it worked in game number 1 and nearly worked on the second map too, because you could see that Method was a bit flustered by how strong Leftovers came out swinging here. So I like that a lot. Method, on the other hand, has now the map pick, and that's Battlefield of Eternity. It's another fantastic map for them. They have 3 wins and 1 loss here. For Zealots was a bit of a, for Leftovers was a bit of a mixed bag. 1 win, 1 loss. Nothing too crazy, but it has traditionally been a very strong map for Team Method, and back before that, Expert.
Yeah, still a Battleground 2 where both these main tanks that we're seeing, Diablo and Meridian, can be pretty powerful on, forcing the fights where you want to. We've also seen a little bit of Tyrael mixed in from Method in particular, trying to use that Holy Ground later on, the certification for diving a target and trying to clear them up. Now, that wasn't the Hanzo meta. Surprisingly, Hanzo started to fall off a little bit even on this Battleground here. We occasionally see a ban or see him in the second and third pickup, but teams have gotten much better at identifying when Hanzo wants to be in a position to clear out that Immortal, and being in the correct spot to try and punish him and the rest of his team. So watch out for that if we get Hanzo in the rotation.
Yeah, and you mentioned Tyrael, and again, 4 games have been played by Method on this map. They played Tyrael 3 times, and they were successful twice with him. So definitely a hero that has to be on your mind when you are Leftovers. Not necessarily something that you consider banning out, but you at least have to say, okay, like this might be something that they're going to head into. But there's a lot of heroes here that we can see targeted again. But I would say there is a chance that Leftovers is now slowly starting to move away from, especially on this map, to try and target ban ADR.
Yeah, how can you handle a Tyrael that's coming your way? You can look in towards having possible burst, kill Tyrael straight out. He does have a small health pool if you want to be able to try and target him down, or pick up heroes that cannot get locked down by the Holy Ground. And if they can, make sure you have a follow-up. A bunker can be a great way to escape a Holy Ground. Having the ability to jump over a Holy Ground with teleports like Zeratul, Phoenix can give you that option to make sure you are not locked into a corner and getting completely deleted.
One of the things we haven't seen yet either is Leftovers play Reyna, and that surprised me a little bit, because it feels like Reyna is a hero that is right down DAB's alley. He loves
auto attacks.
He loves auto attackers, and he has been playing nearly all auto attackers for his team so far. So I would have expected them to at least dabble in the hero in one of these games and say, okay, let's see what we can do with that.
Yeah, let's see if he can make some pepper. Maybe he should here. Leftovers on BOE. You can see them having enough control here to maybe mix them in. He actually does decent damage against the Immortal. It's not amazing, but it's not like you are hindered right away by picking up a Rainer.
And you have Hyperion, so if you just try to create the space around an Immortal to allow your team to jump into, it's not only about you. If you can just move in with an Hyperion and really force that space for a limited amount of time that allows you to burn it down. So that really works for him. The case with, I mean, we're not really making an argument for for Reyna over Hanzo on this Battleground when it comes to Immortal race, but with 3 bans, there's a good chance that a lot of these heroes that you would usually see trying to race the Immortal are going to be banned out. And then Reyna is that nice middle ground that you have, where an auto attacker for DAB is pretty powerful, since Method also targeted not only Tracer against DAB, but also Phoenix, with the exception of the last map.
Yeah.
And you could see why, because he was still very strong, and even with Phoenix played, they always kept their eye on Phoenix. DAB was a priority target for Diablo and everyone else.
Which was crazy, because DAB had so much focus on him, it felt like Genji just had a really hard time being effective. There were so many tanky opponents that were hard for him to even clear anyone up. I mean, you had Deckard Cain, who can set up those kills, but Genji being able to go on the back line with a Yrel and a Diablo floating around, and even a Rainer, it seemed a little bit too difficult for him. So maybe Method has a pretty set focus on how they make sure that they don't have to deal with these squishy backliners that try to dive in towards them, as they've shown twice now with Tracer and Genji. Didn't work out for them in game 1, but they seem to have it all figured out. Get a robust lineup, you should be able to handle them.
And heading into the draft here, leftovers just stay consistent with their ban pattern. Very likely that we're going to see Tacita banned out as well. We have Abathur banned, and so far on every single map outside of Tomb of the Spider Queen, it was an Abathur and Tacita ban that they relied upon. Tacita has also been banned on Tomb. Hesitant now, though. They have first pick. Could be that they are even aiming for a double support strategy themselves. That's something that they would consider here, going to a Tacita first pick with this. They ban Medivh out, so all of these aggressive moves are just shut down for now. Makes me very curious about the first pick that they're going to commit to. We had a lot of Genji attempts, Tracer, depending on what method bans out on the second ban. But Tacita is open for the first time up to this point. Maybe Method themselves even a bit concerned about this now.
Yeah, they might consider not even banning out Tacita and leaving it open and see if leftovers will go for Tracer, which is something that DAB is focused on, and then take Tacita themselves, and they're willing to adapt as they go through it.
Exactly, so now you are in this weird spot for leftovers. Do you pick Tracer? Do you pick Tacita? What's going to be the first pick for you? What are you willing to give to Method? And they go for Genji. They let both of them go. Would allow Method theoretically to take both of the heroes here. AD could play Tacita, and they could give Tracer over.
To Nick, yeah. Or they could take Tracer themselves, which has been one that we've seen on BOE in the past. You do set yourself up to be a little bit on the squishy side. I'm curious.
Yeah.
This draft has definitely altered pretty heavily as we go into game number 4.
This is definitely posing a huge risk now. And there's the Tacita pick immediately. And the cool thing about Reyna now also being viable is that you don't have to go into Tracer. You also have Reyna available, so he can be that solo damage dealer if you want to have a double support on him. And he can spec into more aggressive talents even, and that makes him extremely scary. And Diablo. I mean, we've been echoing over and over again today how powerful Diablo is in the current meta, and Bad Benny is showcasing this game after game after game. Urel taken away, though. That's the first time that Method cannot rely on Urel in this series, where they can't play her. And again, they're looking fantastic with her. Fantastic win rate. As we came in today, they had 9 wins and a single loss with Urel. And now leftovers are saying, okay, it's time to just take that away from them. It's just too strong. Thero is bullying our backline. We need to turn this around and give them a taste of their own medicine.
Do you ban Blaze here for leftovers? One of the stronger top lanes you can have. Helps out with wave clear and control, and also the bunker, so Genji can have a little bit more of an easier time on the back lane. It's already made difficult with Tacita providing shields.
I think either you ban Blaze, but if you don't target the off lane, then you would go for the auto attack damage and either ban out Tracer or Reyna, whoever you are more concerned about. Any hero that meshes well with Tacita. Or Hammer, that works of course too. Like Hammer, we've seen her in the first game, another auto attacker. Didn't really come to mind right away, but obviously she is still a big part of meta. We have a lot of auto attackers right now. I really enjoy that.
AA life, man. Third and fourth pickup here. Will we get the Tracer? Is there a possibility Vala even becomes viable here? With the double support. There's Malf and Blaze coming in, so we're going to leave their options open for their 5th pick.
I mean, I think Vala is an option, but if you have Reyna and Tracer still around, it becomes a bit less likely. But look at what they leave open for the last pick. I mean, traditionally, you don't see that happen, that you leave the auto attacker open. Normally, you would have taken the auto attacker here. But no matter what leftovers pick now, you still have fantastic picks that mesh well with that exact combo. So with Reyna coming in, with Hammer becoming meta, even with the 3rd ban, you have so many tools that you can still use, that you can leave your auto attacker as the flex hero. Oftentimes, you would see the offlaner being left open here, where you say, okay, do we need an extra layer of defense with Blaze, or do we just head into something else entirely?
And with that Greymane pick coming in, suddenly Tracer becomes a little bit less of a tasty pick, right? Suddenly she can get blown up by Genji and Greymane. So you can think about a tankier option. That Rainer stops and pops up. Cassia also comes in with Greymane coming up. Being able to bring those blinds when he dives you is always great. And of course, the physical armor you have.
Blinds are definitely going to be great for them, and also with the double support that we have, you can still go into the Thunderstrike build and just keep poking the entire time with the Lightning Fury.
I don't mind Charge Strikes here too, though. With Urel, Greymane, Muradin, and Genji, you're going to be done with dive, and Charge Strikes punishes dive well if you don't get locked down.
I just like it for the poke. If you have, if you play a poke game at any point and you feel and you're afraid that you are locked down into a poke war around the Immortal, then it can definitely help you. But you can make the arguments both ways. You have Tacita for a bit of range damage, but I would still enjoy a Lightning Fury build for sure for Cassia on the map, given that you might end up in that stalemate in the middle.
So looking at it, I actually like the race available here for Leftovers, mostly because of Greymane coming in there, but I like the control setup here for Method. And so far, they've shown that they can control a game, especially post-Game 2. They've been a little bit more on point when it comes to being able to deal with these team fights. So I think I like their draft here. Defend to BOE. What do you think?
Method is just insane. The sustain that they have, especially if, I mean, you can go your Twilight Dream, you can go Tranquility, but no matter what you do, your sustain is out of this world. You have Tacita shields, you have Diablo Blaze at the front line, and then Malfurion coming in. I feel for Leftovers, they have to showcase exactly that, those snap kills, you know, like this crisp coordination that we've seen, especially in map 1. If they can show that, maybe they can get their kills here. Game number 4, it might be the last one, as we are seeing AD this time on the left side. 4-team Method on Tacita, Bad Benny is on Diablo yet again. Nick, on the other hand, playing Cassia here with a Thero on Blaze since Urel was taken away. And Curson on Malfurion.
On the right, in the red, 40 Boss on Urel, Blood Kidney on Genji, Mopsio on Murden, DAB on Greymane, and linked to play Deckard Kane.
That way that you just said Mopsio.
What'd I say?
Mopsio. It's
Mopsio.
the me. It's the Mario.
He's Polish, but we'll go with the Italian way.
The Polish plumber.
The Polish plumber. If you gave him a Mario hat and he grew a little mustache,
to be honest,
you can pull it off.
You're not far off. We could definitely create a Mopsio Mario.
I'll buy him some overalls. You buy him a mustache. Let's do it. I'm in.
It's a me. It's a Mopsio. Basta. He actually cooks. He talks to AD apparently a lot about that. And every single time he posts pictures about the food that he cooks, I'm getting hungry. He seems to know exactly what he's doing there. Also, he seems to be knowing what he's doing on the tank role, but right now he finds himself in a solo lane against 3, and that's normally not a spot where you want Muradin to be, because the one thing that he is heavily lacking is wave clear.
Yeah. It's me, I'm Mopsio. Leave my wave alone. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, your Italian accent is fantastic.
Thank you.
3 stacks on his level 1 for Cassia, by the way. Nick is going into the build that we already thought he would, going for that poke battle with Lightning Fury. So he wants to get the 20 stacks first, so that he gets the damage increase, and then later on you go also for the mana cost reduction. And we'll have a kill. Down goes Blaze here.
It's picked up, 3 commit to it.
They're getting a little bit lost on the map there. It's like at this point, it was just like, at the end, like, on the right, on the left.
Who put that tower there? This actually hurts.
Wait, what do you mean Blaze can't hop over structures? I'm not used to this anymore. I'm a Urel one trick at this point.
It's probably what happened. Is he got into a fight and tried to mount up instantly and run away. He's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, try to hop over a structure, instead jet propulsions right into it.
But what's happening here is actually bottom lane has been pushed in, so Leftovers answer back with Greymane in the top lane. But with if they're already back, he goes in for the jet propulsion, does some decent damage, but turrets and walls have been destroyed already here as we had 2 minutes into BOE.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that split that Leftovers execute here. Having Mopsio at the bot lane alone, the only thing he can do is soak the lane. Like, he won't die to this, but he also won't show any resistance. And I mean, keep this in mind. One of the reasons why we're currently seeing that slight lead for Leftovers in experience is also because they took a Thero down, but the wall at the top hasn't even broken through. That setup with Blaze and Tacita alone has enough damage and push that there was no way for Leftovers, even with Greymane, to push through the top wall. So from a structural perspective, definitely an advantage for Method, even though they are a tiny bit behind in overall experience.
And now these bruiser camps become even more deadly, right?
Yeah.
With no turrets being in the way, now you have to defend them right away. You don't have the time to kind of float around and clear them up afterwards. And you see both teams actually committing to this method, grouping up as multiple members here in the bottom lane as they charge straight in towards that fort. Leftovers grabbing the camp below to help with the defense.
That's actually important. Getting the camp here is absolutely amazing for them. But they have to deal with this wave now. And DAB can easily do that with Greymane, so they're going to take this one down, and then they're going to focus the fight onto the Immortal itself. But definitely an awkward spot now with those walls lost, because that opens up a lot of possible plays where you can just push through the lane later on. But it's all about the Immortal for now, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. 15 stacks already on Cassia, by the way, on the level 1. DAB in a bit of trouble here, needs to be careful because Bad Benny is already aiming for another charge and flip.
Solid combo, though, between Bad Benny and Curson. The flip into a root. A little bit of damage there on top of Greymane, but with the potions and the shields coming in, he was able to hold on just fine. The Immortal Race, slightly in favor of the leftovers. He actually had Polybus working against some mono attacks as well.
Zero. Not hitting the target with the jet propulsion here, trying to zone them more than anything else. They have Urel at the top, attempting to get a bit more experience, and of course they can zone out also the opponent's wave. This is what Blakidney is doing at the left here too, trying to look if he can maybe jump onto ADRD and exploit that low hit point pool that we have on Tassadar these days.
Watching Cassie here, she's trying to work in those javelins, trying to get as much damage as she can on those spears and make sure that she can continue to work on her quest. Right now sitting at 22 stacks.
Yeah, so the extra damage is already confirmed for Cassia.
Pretty darn nice. Moment she finishes that up.
Urel coming in from behind, actually. They're trying to shock around this, and now we're seeing go for Malfurion. Malfurion being attacked here. Boss definitely causing a little bit of disruption here in that backline. Nice lockdown against Genji, and Mopsio goes in. Bad Benny is getting pushed back again. Boss is just all over the place. They're trying to make... Oh, but stunned into the stun circle. That could be the end of Urel, and yes, she falls. Great follow-up, but now Malfurion dies too. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Mopsio still dishing out the damage, and they're closing in on level 7 talents. That would be another lead, but again, the stun circle effective here, and they're moving out. Barely. Genji saving himself here.
Wow, Blakidney actually walked in that stun circle and almost cost him his life there, even with the deflect coming out. 7 hits for leftovers, but this gives a little bit of wiggle room here for Method to go over and start putting some damage on that Immortal, especially with Greymane being low. It looks like leftovers were going to be able to turn that around with Malfurion getting sniped, but good control by Bad Benny, once again, making sure that front line did not allow for anyone to pass on through and put any pressure on Tassadar or Cassia.
And now they win the halftime show, and they also buy just that sliver of time that they need to get the level 7 talent. But we have now defense or offensive positions where you're trying to just burst that down. And especially Greymane is going to try and make that move in, but 7 is available on both sides now. And again, that pressure play. Beautiful moves here by Bad Benny, and the follow-up is there as we have Genji fall. Not a good time for Genji in this game and the last.
I feel like if Bad Benny is anywhere near Blakidney's screen, he should make sure not to hit any buttons, because Bad Benny is punishing him every single time he goes for a Swift Strike or even attempts to go for the Cyber Agility. That is twice in a row now that he has been comboed into a circle. Greymane gets locked down as well, flipped over, DAB able to sneak out, actually.
That was actually a bit of a misplay by Bad Benny here.
Yeah.
He moved him out of the stun circle. If he just lets him stand right there, then the extra stun from the stun circle through the Immortal hits, and that would probably be a confirmed kill against Greymane too. So I think in the heat of the moment, he didn't realize what was about to happen here and just flipped him over. But he created so many kill opportunities already and really won them the Immortal there. Another attempt, but this time Curson is just a tiny bit too late to put the roots into play, and so Blakidney can move out. But the pressure is amazing. I mean, it is absolutely scary. You move out 1 inch and immediately Bad Benny is in your face and smashes it into a wall.
That's one of the scariest parts about playing this game. If you have a confident Diablo on the opposing team, Bad Benny comes in, finds another charge, and leftovers will put all 5 here in the top lane for defense. They're trying to get a kill if they can. Then they, of course, will back up and deal with the Immortal. Nick, however, is having a field day. Shredding in damage like crazy, looking at DAB. He's already getting low thanks to the Sonic Storm. Blakidney goes in the back line and goes straight for Tassadar, who will kite straight over to Curson. So Blakidney actually playing a lot of room here for the rest of his team.
You talk about Nick, and the thing with Nick is, at this point, he has so much space, he doesn't even know what to do with it. He gets another kill here. There's no one on him. The entire time we are seeing Bad Benny create so much focus here. Again, another kill. He flips them over, body blocks them, and then the follow-up. And it's just... This is currently just the Bad Benny show at the front line. ADRD, of course, allowing him to be that aggressive because of the Tassadar shields. But Nick is just sitting in the back and saying, like, guys, can we please continue doing that? This is amazing. I can just hit whatever I want.
Bad Benny, the main show with his backup dancers, Nick, Curson, and ADRD. Constantly bringing a little bit of support in here, a little bit of shields. Dancing with the Bears as another combo comes out. There's a pocket. DAB is done.
Method is just absolutely slapping the leftovers around. They are taking the lunch money at this point. Method is just...
Not the lunch money.
Method is just looking fantastic.
Not the lunch money.
5 kills against 2. Bullies are hungry too.
Bullies are hungry too. Leftovers starving right now. The lunch money is gone. They need level 10. But they still have time. That's one thing they have.
Yeah, the question is simply how much, because it's all about this next Immortal phase now. Being 1.5 levels behind right now, having lost the fort at the top lane and severe hit point losses at the fort towards the bottom of the map, you need to make the plays around Immortal number 2. If you don't pull that off, you are very, very likely to fall far behind and get snowballed. So this is a bit of a do-or-die situation for Leftovers already as we're looking into it. Greymane, by the way, on his level 7 talent, also going into the Wizened Duelist here. So looking for that extra damage, and they definitely need it. I mean, in an ideal world, they make it to level 16 on even talents, and they can really go for Alpha Killer and threaten with... I would have even liked a Curse Bullet here, to be honest, just like trying to threaten Diablo a little bit more. I can totally understand why you would want to go for the throat. It can target especially ADRD together with Genji and try and get the kill there. But it feels the biggest problem that they have right now is that aggressive Diablo style that Bad Benny is playing.
Right now they're making a bit of a final stand actually already on top of this Immortal. Setting up for defense, and Potibus goes in for the engage. Bad Benny will toss on the side while Black Kidney goes straight in for Curse, and the shield comes out. Here comes the chain balls that puts damage on top of Mobs. He was able to sidestep as the bunker comes out. All of Method will jump on in and apply a little bit of fire pressure on Linked.
But no kill. They were trying to get the flip on Muradin, and that didn't work out, so the POC did not do what they intended here. Potibus is still surviving, and as ADRD just continues to spam out the storms, they are still in a position where they can fight for this one, and as we said before, they need to.
Stormbolt comes out, DAB poking a little bit. The Immortal gets lower and lower, though, as Nick continues to work in these Javelins, putting some decent damage out.
Good pressure, by the way, through the top lane, and Genji is even making sure that no one can sneak in. So this is a fort that is likely to fall up at the top, but eventually Leftovers will have to deal with the bot lane, of course, as well. Right now, it's all about Immortal pressure, and they're trying to get the kill. They're jumping in, but again, the stuns, the kill, and Muradin and Greymane are both gone. They are history, as Method is attempting to follow up with a third one against Black Kidney.
Athero goes full Iron Man there, gets a huge jet propulsion, lands it on 2 members, and they are instantly deleted thanks to also the stun circle coming out, and Leftovers will lose 3 on that fight. Method turns their attention to clearing the top lane, as you were talking about, as a major threat. Will they save the fort? No, it should fall here. One more minion wave? No, they actually change over their pressure to the minions, and that will live with half an HP bar.
Yeah.
Literally 0.5 health right there.
I can't check.
Nope.
Sad panda. Was about to check the hit points that it actually has, but for some reason I can't. Oh, actually I have it. 19 hit points.
Really?
Yeah, that's 19 hit points at the top 4.
Dang.
More than I expected, but still impressive. Not that it would make a big difference here. 13 talents are in the hands of Method. They have the talent advantage, and also they have, of course, the flying colors. Won the halftime show.
The color guard sitting in the back line, still protecting Bad Benny.
Yep.
As he attempts to eventually go in for an engage here at that level 13.
Bad Benny has absolutely zero respect for the Leftovers at this point. He is just diving whenever he wants to. He has those shields ready and he knows it too. Again, the stuns coming out here with the jet propulsion, the pokes from Nick. On the other side, they try to go for Mopsio. Mopsio with a Stormbolt misses it as Nick is moving away, and he himself now has the Tacita shield, gets the extra hit points back thanks to the level 4, and the push just continues. And of course, with ADRD just providing one storm after another, it's there. Great dodge by Black Kidney. Dodges the Twilight Dream and the APOC with the X-Strike.
Solid X-Strike there. But the thing is, the poke is still in favor of Method. You have Oil constantly coming out. Poke constantly coming in too. Bad Benny goes in for Potibus, who takes a couple of hits here, but able to back up. Bad Benny getting the shield here from Tassadar, while DAB tries to put a little bit of damage on that Immortal, but he has to be careful. The jet propulsion and the oil is still a major threat.
Yeah, and the Nature's Cure coming out every time that we see that lockdown attempt against Bad Benny. The level 13 talent advantage is so strong, and this time down goes Genji once again. But we have Malfurion also in trouble. Curson, he's about to fall, walks away for a few more seconds, but then finally dies. A 1-for-1 trade, but it's just going to get worse for the Leftovers. They lose Mopsio, they lose Urel. Down they go, one after another, 11 kills against 3, and Team Method is going to take another Immortal. They have the 2-level lead, and this one is going to hurt.
It almost feels like the Immortal Circles are more of a threat to Leftovers than the rest of Method. Granted, they're having this setup where you have the stun coming in from Diablo or Blaze to lock them down, but most of the kills that have happened here have been Leftovers being locked into a corner on the opposing Immortal. Solid play here from Method as they continue to set those up. With the camp being grabbed in the bottom and the Immortal about to be cleaned up, they will be able to set up a massive push. They're grabbing the camp to the left, to the south, and they'll be looking to break down a keep and potentially take the game.
I mean, this is one of the impressive things of how well they've been playing around those stun circles. You see really the jet propulsions, but also Diablo's own plays aimed to use them as an additional lockdown. And then there's always damage to capitalize on those positions. So that's just good execution that we are seeing on their end.
Waiting to grab this camp to make sure it's with the Immortal, or at least behind it, so they can have a pretty massive push coming in. This will be 16 for them too if they're able to get to that keep. And Leftovers will be a full talent behind. For now, Leftovers on even talents, but behind in levels, 2 levels in total. Urel may have to come in and go for a last-second flank.
I mean, this could definitely be game. If you find a few kills here, this can be game. And already the stay in while the listener is there. They're trying to go for Nick, but that's a kill that they just can't get. The bunker is already out. So the attempt to go for the backline damage has already failed. But that might turn around. They're still trying to go for Nick, but it's just not happening. The Twilight Dream is good. And down goes Genji. The kills are there. The Immortal is shredding the keep as we're talking about this. Mobster gets rooted. He gets stunned. He also falls. That's the double kill. Make that a triple as Genji... Greymane is also dead. Genji down, Greymane down, Murden down. They're going for linked, and they will likely get Deckard here too, but even if they don't, the core is already being assailed here, and this is just not looking pretty.
Link's put up a fight against Tassadar. Kind of crazy when you think about lore. But the core is the main focus as Method turns around. Nick is already on top of it. He's done with this game. He has things to do here.
They cannot kill Link though.
He's pretty tanky, dude. That's it. 3-1 here as Method will get the victory over Leftovers. Leftovers in game 1 come out swinging, but Method able to find their composure and be able to control the rest of the matches. We're able to shut it out with 3 back-to-back wins.
Can we just acknowledge that 2 heroes were just pummeling down an old man and were not able to actually get that kill? Deckard survived the entire time. He was just walking around eating potions.
I mean, he did make it through 3 games. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Spoilers, he didn't make it past the 3rd game, but he was in there for a while.
Impressive play though by Method. Really nice control. It's more so the series that we expected after the initial map, but Leftovers still very strong. Definitely making it more difficult for Method than they probably expected, but Method coming out victorious and securing that win, establishing their position towards the top of the standings more and more. And of course, we still have that final battle before us between Method and Team Liquid, as the 2 teams are going to aim for the number 2 spot in the standings.
That they are still trying to get to that Western clash. But the storyline for today also continues into our next series. As Leftovers with their loss today gives a little bit more hope to Fnatic as they're trying to get that 4th spot. Granted, Fnatic will be facing off against Dignitas, and that's a pretty hard matchup in itself. But today starts off with a pretty awesome series and continues throughout the day, as we'll be looking at that series next after, of course, we get into the interview and the commercial break.
Now, one of the things that's also need to be considered is even if Fnatic loses to Dignitas, it doesn't automatically mean that they can't make it to the Western Clash anymore. It comes down to really the last week of play, where we, if I'm not mistaken, have Granite Gaming going up against Leftovers. And that's going to be a heavily contested series. There's a lot of aspects still to it, but of course, this is already one of those moments where for Leftovers it became a bit more difficult to make it to the Western.
And part of it was because of this guy, ADRD, coming in to talk for Method. ADRD, welcome to the HGC. Congratulations on your victory. I'm going to come out with a pretty aggressive question, though. In game number 1, you gave Leftovers everything that they love to play, and it wound up costing you a game. What was the plan behind that?
Okay, so in the first game, I think the problem was not that we gave them everything they wanted, but the problem was that we didn't get what we wanted.
Really? What were you missing?
I think the last pick was not that good with Hammer. We needed something else, but we kind of wanted actually to pick Maiev at the last pick, but they picked it, so we had to pick it earlier. And also, I think the timers are pretty low, so it's way harder to draft now. And with more bans, it's completely different, so it's easy to forget that you need to pick some picks in other priority.
Yeah, you mentioned the timers are a bit lower there. Is that the main issue for you? Is that you have to pre-plan a little bit more on drafts and can't be more flexing? Or is it something that you feel like you'll get used to as time continues to evolve over the next couple of weeks?
I think it's kind of a combination of having shorter timers and at the same time one more ban. So it changes draft a lot. And I think I will need a little bit more time to get used to that.
Okay, awesome. Over to Caldor.
Congratulations to the victory, first of all. Quick question on my hand. Like, how was it going up against Mopsio now? He continues to talk about how much he respects you and how much he learned from you, that he tries to now transfer over to leftovers. Was that a concern for you at any point, that he understands how you're going to draft this and how you're going to play this? Or how is the relationship between you two?
So I would say that he understands and I understand that at the moment Method is just a better team overall. And we have way more experience and very good players, so it would be hard for them to win. But from what you see in HGC, I would say that Mopsio gave leftovers what they needed, because last season they were struggling, but they were kind of doing good, but they didn't have results. And at the beginning of the seasons, they started similar like previously, but then over the season, I think they started improving on what they needed to do, and they rotating better, and they know how to finish games.
When we're talking about your own results, you guys are looking extremely strong right now, but you still have that important match against Team Liquid that would, of course, help you to solidify a number 2 position in the standings even more. What do you think about Team Liquid right now, and what do you think about your chances to take them down?
I think we have very good chances to take the Liquid down, and I'm not sure about Liquid because I would say they're kind of not stable with how they play. Because from the last results, I would have to check, but I think it was Oya versus Zealots. They struggled a lot. It was 3-2, and we played Zealots the same week, and for us the match was, I would say, quite easy. I mean, our games were clean and we won 3-0.
Yeah.
So I would say it will depend how Liquid is doing that week. And even if they're doing good, I think we have a good chance to win anyways.
One last question, just simply, you mentioned a bit that it's a bit different now for you drafting just simply because of the changes to the draft timers, but letting the time window to confirm a pick or a ban set aside, what do you think about the third ban in general?
I think it's good because of the heroes like Genji, Tracer, and so on. I think those picks were denying a lot of other picks. So with those banned, I think there's more flexibility in drafts and you can play more with comfort picks instead of picking the heroes that are very good. So for example, you have a tank player that really likes, let's say, Diablo. Okay, maybe it's better with ranged players. Let's say he likes Junkrat, right? So he can't play Junkrat because you have to pick Tracer or Genji for him. And with those bans, he can play it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. And well, congratulations for the victory today. And hope to see you guys next week in the same shape and form again against Team Liquid. It's going to be a great series.
ADRD, as always, thank you so much for your insight. We are talking about your matchup against Team Liquid up next week, and you mentioned that you think you could take that if you are playing well. I actually have a bit of a deeper question for you. You two will be fighting over the 2nd and 3rd spot, but the 4th spot is currently up for contest between a lot of our teams currently right now. You have Leftovers, Fnatic, and even Granite Gaming that can sneak in. Who would be your favorite to be the 4th representative going to the Western Clash?
I think after 2 days, it might be Leftovers.
Over Fnatic?
I think they have a chance. They have good shots at the moment.
Awesome. Well, good to hear, man. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. The floor is yours for shout-outs, and make sure you prepare for that big match next week against Team Liquid.
Okay, so shout out to Team Method and all our sponsors, and to all our fans that are coming here and voting for us and cheering for us, and keep it up.